So, hi, Katrina from Cammino Shoes. Today I wanted to talk to my good friend Carly, who I've been working with since I've launched the brand. So, Carly Sӧderström is a fashion photographer and a content creator, and she's done some wonderful stuff for Cammino. So, I just wanted to talk to her today. So, tell me, Carly, give us a bit of a background on you. We used to work together, obviously, at News.
We did.
And we've come full circle.
It has come full circle. So I started at News. That was my first official job out of uni. And somehow I managed to secure a maternity leave position as a designer there and just got taken under the wing in back when magazines were awesome.
Yes.
And so we had a lot of the Condé Nast titles. We had Vogue, GQ, all those beautiful luxury magazines. And I remember just sitting there flicking through and just looking at all the pretty images and wishing that I could be taken onto set to do all those shoots. And fast forward to now, 12 years later, I am that person. So it's interesting how that progression happens.
And so how has that sort of background influenced the type of clients you work on?
I think it's had a really positive effect in the sense that I've done that full circle. So, and I've also had my own business. So I understand what needs to be communicated to a customer, but also what looks good and visually aesthetically pleasing. So it's been able to find the balance between the both of like making sure the product looks incredible, but it's also engaging and doesn't look like specifically salesy.
Yeah.
So I feel like we can't get away with that anymore.
Agreed. And like a lot of the photography you've done for Cammino has just been, it's some of my most engaged posts. So yeah, it's been awesome. So can you tell me about some of the brands that you've worked with where you've done something particularly creative?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my clients is Aspect Skincare. So they have a cosmeceuticals range that's all active ingredients. So they wanted something that looked quite clinical, so quite high-end and luxury, but also really impactful on the socials. And that requires a lot of creativity in the sense of you're limited because you can't bring in other props. That doesn't work with their brand aesthetic. So you have to be creative with your shadows and your lights and things like that. So with Aspect, we've been able to have a lot of fun making these really kind of 3D images, but still hit the nail on the head in regards to making sure we sit in their brand aesthetic. And just last month, I believe, we were in Marie Claire magazine, so that was a bit of a...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so...
Well done. And also, you did a fabulous branding shoot for me. Are you doing much of that personal branding stuff?
Yeah. I think nowadays, and particularly I think with 2020, people want to know who they're supporting. And, everyone in small business has had a really challenging year. And I think now more than ever, being the face of a business is important. So there are a lot of people who are starting to recognise that their personal brand does matter. And I know that it can be a little bit intimidating to put yourself out there and, particularly if you're not someone if you're not someone that likes that. So having a personal branding session can really mitigate that for you and make it a little bit easier. And I think, this day and age, that sort of professional photography is well received on socials as opposed to the old school Snapchat filters and selfies, So there's a delicate balance between the two, but there's definitely a big demand for that now.
Yeah, so you did some fabulous stuff for me that got picked up by Cream Magazine and some other publishers, so yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. So yeah, I also wanted to ask you sort of, I guess, like for me, you really challenged my creative look at my brand. Like you went in the direction I would have never done before, which I love. So yeah, I just wanted you to talk a bit about that.
I think the issue when you're really close to your product, you see it through your lens and your lens only. And often it can be hard to put yourself into your consumer's shoes. And particularly it's your baby, it's so close to you. So you envisage it a certain way. So I think when you have someone else step in for the first time, it can be a little bit challenging because you're sort of like, oh, I don't know where I want this to go. And, my specialty and what you would hire me for is to be able to put myself into your consumer's shoes and see the kind of content that they'll engage with. And the issue with social media now is it's so saturated. Everyone's constantly got a sales pitch. And, that doesn't need to be a negative, but it needs to feel like there's value behind the content as well. So being able to put something out there that's fun and creative and clever is going to get you a higher engagement than if it's constantly just sell. So that's where I try and come in and go, this is a really fun shoe. This is really colourful and bright. How do we bring it to life? How do we bring this product to life so that when your consumer sees these images, they feel like they're a part of it, you know, like it should evoke some level of emotion. And so particularly when you gave me all the shoes, I'm like, they're so fun with colors, you know, there's like all the colors of the rainbow. I was like, well, let's have some fun with this. Let's make it look multidimensional. And so when it does come up on someone's feed or on a website, they're going to stop and be like, oh, what's that? And it works. You know?
It does. And I've got to say that's one of the fabulous things I found about working with you is you completely changed my mindset. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give it to you. I know you're going to do a good job. So
it can be hard to hand over the reins, and I think when you're a small business, you have a real tunnel vision approach to what you want to achieve. And I know this from when I had my business. I knew what I wanted, but often it wasn't quite right with what the market was ready to receive. And there's a delicate balance between able to hold on to your creative vision, but also make it really marketable. And so that's the job of the photographer. That's our job, to bring those products to life and find that balance for you. So yay. So I'm glad I was successful.
You sure were.
Yay.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time.
My
Great
pleasure.
chatting.
Thank you.